You are watching a master at work.
No sunken place, new mind frame. I grew up, it's time till we fall. Tested by time, moons and stars on my guide. God was clearly involved, prime was solved. The universe all in my mind, galaxy in every thought. Manifestation repeat, manifestation repeat, manifestation repeat. I grew up, it's time till we fall. Tested by time, moons and stars on my guide. God was clearly involved, prime was solved. The universe all in my mind, galaxy in every thought. Look at the demons I fought, victory easily sought, time till we fall. Yeah. I grew up, it's time to revolve.
All right, so Dr. Phillips, because you know that's coming up next.
You sound like my fiance.
Yeah, Dr. Phillips, you gotta definitely continue going, especially with just some of your literature that, not even some, but just this first piece, and not even being able to read the book yet, but reading the summary alone and just seeing the cover of the book alone with the title "Y'all Hiring" says a lot. So everybody, I just want to welcome everybody back to The Real Ride. We now have Albert Phillips. Albert Phillips, I've known Albert since I was in high school. I met him through a friend, and it's just really good to see him, transition through life and all of the things that he has succeeded with in life. And Albert, real fast, can you just tell everybody about yourself, who you are, and your project and the things that you are doing?
Yeah, I appreciate that intro, man. My name is Albert Phillips Jr. I'm a youth advocate, educator, writer from Baltimore City, and just very passionate about helping to uplift young people, particularly our Black youth within the city and outside of the city. Trying to help people, figure out like what's their path, what's their purpose, but more so like how to navigate this situation that we're living in today as far as employment. And so that's kind of like the mindset behind me and my upcoming book, Y'all Hiring: A Black Teens Guide to Navigating Employment. That's going to be due out later this year, 2020. Definitely excited about that. It's going to be a book that, it's going to reveal a few different things. One is going to talk a little bit about my employment journey. So me being a teenager growing up in the city and trying to figure out and navigate how to get jobs, how to network, how to take advantage of opportunities, how not to burn certain bridges that you might want to connect with later on. So some of my personal pitfalls will be within the book, combined with different best practices, like things that I've learned from other people, things that I've learned through research, things that I've learned through just like working. I've worked in different capacities, in workforce development throughout the city. So I'm gonna be putting some of that in the book, and then it's gonna be broken up into 3 like simple parts. So what are some things that young people should consider prior to getting a job, while on the job, and then in transition into some other opportunity. So that's a little bit about the book.
Okay, man, that definitely sounds dope. And just could you elaborate more on your experiences, as you were navigating through employment? Because for me, I have personal experiences as well, and I think that the most challenging thing for people of color especially is that you are forced to sometimes change who you are in your culture to conform to what corporate world expects of you. And like for me, I think my struggle was that finishing school, and even when I wasn't in school, and just trying to get a job and trying to get people to see past the stereotypes. And if I, just having friends who had dreads, who, just was self-conscious about, well, am I not getting hired because of my dreads? So just everybody I know have had different experiences. So can you just share some of your experiences and the things that you went through?
Yeah, so all of those things you mentioned are extremely true. and they happen to, hundreds, if not thousands of Black and brown people, other people of color throughout the entire country. But in my personal experience, I found that I did not have just like that guidance of how to enter employment. So I would do things not out of like I didn't want the opportunity, but like I didn't know that you wasn't supposed to do certain things.
Right, you didn't know how to respond to it. It was like,
yeah. Like I didn't know how people would perceive me if I did certain things. So in the book, I talk about one of my first times going up to an employer and try to ask them about an employment opportunity. And I use a phrase that's the title of the book. Like, I was like, "Yo, y'all hiring?" You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That was my exact words. Like, I didn't really want to have no deep conversation. I wasn't trying to impress you. I just need you to answer my question.
Right.
And so, in the book, in the intro of the book, I talk about I was living over northeast Baltimore at the time, and I walked up to Urban Shopping Center. There's a Foot Locker there. Every teen, like, Black boy dream is to work at Foot Locker. You know what I'm saying? Being around
the discount for the shoes.
All of that. Like, I was there for it. And so, I went to the store. I had hair at the time, and I had an afro, and I had like one half braided, one half was out. It was kind of like, if you think about the Boondocks, how you had like Riley and Huey, like Huey had the afro. Yeah, I was like a combination of both of them with my hairstyle. And so I went into the store, my hair looking like that, which, I don't really have no problem with that, but, employees see that differently. And so I had on a jersey, I had on some ripped like jeans or shorts or something like that, and probably some Air Force Ones. And I think I was maybe like 15, 16, something like that at the time. And I just was like, "Yo, y'all hiring?" And so the lady looked at me like, "Is he serious? Like, is something wrong with him? Why he coming in here like that?" And so I was like, she said, "Yeah, we are, but we don't have any applications." So I said, "Cool." I went home, I printed out my own application, and I came back up there, and I filled it out at home. I came back up there, dropped it off, they took it. But, I never got a call back, I never got an email, nothing like that. And in the book, I also, I kind of like come up with my own theory around like what probably happened. And I'm thinking that when I left, she probably just like threw that joint right in the trash. Like, "Kobe."
Just based off of what she saw, like it.
Yeah, it's a few different dynamics there, right? Like one part of it is me just not knowing and being ignorant of how to engage employers, whether they Black, white, it doesn't matter. It's a certain way, it's a certain level of professionalism that you should have, when approaching an employment situation. And, I just didn't know, even with my dad, highly successful social worker, master's degree, like, middle class, all these different things. I didn't get it. You know what I mean? I didn't get it. And so a lot of our young people don't get it. Not because they are incapable, but it's because, the support systems around us are inadequate. Like they're not sufficiently pouring into our young people so that they have those skills to be able to navigate at an early age. And so that's one situation that I had to deal with that I outline in the book.
Oh man, that's definitely cool because as an entrepreneur, you'll see that people understand professionalism more than anything, and when you are trying to make sure that you are given that customer experience, I can see how when people are doing like the hiring process, why that's one of the main things that they will look for a lot of times in your character, but they'll sometimes determine it through the way that you look. So do you think that professionalism, is it more of a look, or is it more of just a way that you conduct yourself? Because I was actually reading a book called Misfits of the Economy, and just how you have a lot of people who would be considered misfits based off of the different, approaches and the different things that they do in life as it pertains to business. And a lot of times, people will stereotype them based off of where they come from. It was giving perspectives from like a drug dealer, a gangster, like every perspective you could think of, it was speaking on. So is it more of a look, or is it more of a way that you conduct yourself as character when you think of professionalism and thinking of ethics when, trying to pursue that job? Like, how should you approach that when you going into looking for employment?
Yeah, so I think in this country, for sure, our standards of professionalism are very Eurocentric.
Mm.
So we automatically assume that if someone does not have on a suit and tie, like they're unprofessional,
Yeah.
or if their hair is not, laid down, perm, something like that, right? Like it's not professional.
Right.
And so I think it's up to us to, people who are knowledgeable to be able to push back against those different stereotypes and those different biases, because we know that they deeply impact the whole like employment process and journey, even on your resume. Like there have been studies that show, I think there's a Harvard study that I also talk about in the book, where they concluded that applicants who whitened their name, or they had like a more white or European, sounding name, were more likely to get callbacks and more likely to get contacted after they submitted their resumes, which is extremely discriminatory.
Right.
And you mentioned like somebody having locks. Like why does locks impact somebody? Like what does that have to do with work?
Right. Like that's something that you can't control. Like that's something that you do. Because it goes, with the culture of how your hair, your texture of hair, like you just can't control that, And,
Yeah, and I think professionalism is you being able to show up authentically who you are and your cultural. It's the part of the book that talks about maintaining your cultural identity in the workplace.
Mm.
A lot of us, especially Black and brown folks, like we'll go and we'll get jobs, and we'll become sponges.
Yeah.
Like we don't think that we are bringing quality and value to the job.
Right.
We don't think sometimes that our skills and our attributes are credible and should be considered in the employment process. And so we only go there, we only get certain jobs in order to listen, in order to take feedback, adhere to whatever the protocols are. But are we thinking deeply enough about like what am I giving to this? What power do I have? What knowledge do I have? And I think particularly our Black teens, they have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge.
Absolutely.
They might not know how to articulate it some ways, that are connected to what white people are used to hearing. But they have a ton of experience. They have a wealth of knowledge. They're very innovative and creative. And so I hope to be able to support our young people with being able to navigate that through this book. But in order to be professional, I think that you have to, one, like know who you are outside of that job. Like who are you as a person, right? Like who are you as an individual? What community and what culture do you come from?
Exactly.
And you can combine that with your employment experience. A lot of times we have those as separate conversations, but everywhere I go, I show up as an ambitious Black man. My handle on Instagram is the ambitious Black guy. Like that's just who I am. And so that's going to reflect whether I'm at work or at school or I'm hanging out with my boys. Like that's just who I am, right? And so I think that people should be able to have that experience of being who they are, no matter where they go, no matter what job they go to. Now, of course, you want to learn, you want to grow with an employer, but you should not have to feel like you don't matter or you're just a sponge in that space?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I know how a lot of times, you feel like you have to switch up because
Yeah,
like your just your natural tones or how you carry yourself wouldn't be accepted in the workplace. You know how sometimes you would answer the phone and you feel like you gotta change your voice, and it's
yeah,
like no. And I think that hit me maybe the last year before I went into entrepreneurship, where I felt that, where it's like you don't have to change yourself, really just stand tall in who you are, and just be that, and people will understand it because you're confident in it. So you're right, about well, of course you're right because you wrote it in your book. But you definitely are right on making sure that people understand that they have to be okay with being black. You gotta love that aspect about you because you can't change it. And you shouldn't want to change it. And it's amazing how a lot of people feel that way. So I really think that book will help you, because it seems as though that's what makes us consider that change is going into corporate world and just our professions. And a lot of people feel that need to switch up, and they kind of lose themselves in it because you think that's the only way you're going to win. Because I used to think that way, and just like I said, reading through the abstract of the book, I'm really glad that you're going to be touching on that, because I used to think that I had to always be professional, the suit, like, and just be like this uptight person all the time, because I wanted people to take me serious and support me. And it's like, no, you just be you. You could be you, and people support on the grounds of that. And even when you going in with two employers, it seemed like I always got the job when I was myself compared to trying to be something else. Like it was easy for them to connect with that than it was, them trying to connect with the guy who was trying to front to get the job of, what I thought they wanted to see.
yeah, yeah. I definitely think that there's a huge level of anti-blackness in the just professional world in general.
Yeah,
Um, if I show up to an interview in a dashiki, right? Like I'm gonna be looked at as I'm gonna
as
be looked at differently.
what's going on? Like, is he serious? Like,
Right? But it's like, yo, this is me being who I am. Like
right,
this is me, in a professional way, like representing my culture.
exactly.
And how that's perceived in a lot of different industries around the country is like, yo, like you're doing too much. That's not what you should be wearing. You don't got to figure it out. And so, I just challenge some of those things.
Absolutely, definitely. Now I wanted to talk to you about the aftermath of COVID-19. All right. So, what do you think is going to happen when you're thinking of your book and just how you're helping people to navigate? What do you think will be the aftermath based off of what we see so far when it comes to employment now for youth? Do you think that it's going to be more challenging, or is it going to require more work from us as people to create opportunities so that we can provide employment for black youth? Or like what is your mindset now, just seeing everything that's happening? Like what's the route that we're going to have to go?
Yeah, so I think it's going to be both. I think one, entrepreneurship is extremely important.
Absolutely.
I don't touch on it a lot in the book. I wanted to have a whole section about it. Not, I wanted to have a contributing writer who has a youth entrepreneurship program in the city to be able to put that in, because I think he's more of an authentic voice when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But I think yes, it's going to be a part of people, creating their own businesses, people learning different skills, people maybe like at home right now, you're working towards getting some sort of certification. You might be doing some type of some online skill building, or you might be taking some online classes. This is a very, very traumatic time for a lot of people, So I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, if you home and you ain't doing nothing, then you just wasting time. Like,
Right.
Like, how to eat.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
that's the last thing. You in survival mode right now. Like, I was seeing that all over on social media. I'm like, nah, people really going through some things, and frontline workers, just can't even see their kids and stuff. So it's like, nah, definitely not a time, for that. But just, preparing for it in the sense of, if you do have a business and you are creating a plan to bring on team members and the staff, why not consider the people who are going to need it the most? Because we always forget to include that in the process of hiring. So, and I get it, because it's work. It's work, because you're not just going to be just bringing somebody on to the team and thinking it's going to just go easily. Like, you want to have to really be a mentor to this person, and that's what it is. Like, when you think about, like, especially when I think about all the people who are mentors to me, former employers, and just the different people I met, that you definitely take on that role. So
exactly. So I think, like, again, like, a part of it is, that piece of people, like, taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
Another part of it is, like, if you have the time, the will, the access. Technology access is a whole different conversation, but if you have those different things, then, maybe take advantage of some online opportunities. And I think, a lot of people who are frontline workers, are lower paid individuals, are Black and brown people. Not even sorry, we're talking about a lot of, Black women being put in different situations, other women of color, because they don't have jobs where they can work from home. Like, that's a luxury.
Exactly.
Luxury, and a lot of people just don't have access to that. And so, even now, like, there are protests. I think today, actually, with Amazon and a couple of other, like, big employers, where some of their employees are protesting.
Yeah.
Because unjust work conditions and lack of benefits and resources and things like that. And so you got people pushing back against what a lot of people are dealing with right now. So I just encourage people to, like, think proactively at the same time. Like, COVID-19 has put a magnifying glass on a lot of the inequities that already exist.
Absolutely.
But you gotta understand that, one, like, this is going to pass, and then two, it's not enough for us to go back to the way that things were. Like, the way that people act like the way that things were perfect, and now everything's messed up.
Yeah, right.
It's like,
no, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? People's already going through stuff. And so we got to think, like, how can we deal with some of these bigger systemic and structural issues now during COVID and even beyond?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And because I was even thinking about, just how, like, the squeegee kids. So with the squeegee kids, and just how pretty much a lot of people were saying, oh man, they out there full force now. And it's like, you see the ripple effect of the economy. So if the rich is affected, like, every level is affected, and vice versa, from the poor class being affected going up. It's like a ripple effect back and forth. So I always stood with the squeegee boys, and the reason being, and I try to explain this to a lot of people, I get that we have bad apples in everything that we do. Anything that you do, you're going to have people who abuse the system that was created. And you have a lot of the squeegee kids who use that opportunity really to take care of their household. And the reason why I know that is because I had pulled over one day and I spoke to one of the kids, and I was just I suggested to him, I said, won't y'all think about doing the back windows instead of the front windows? Because, the average car has front windshield wipers, of course, but the average car doesn't have back windshield wipers. And sometimes you just be like, oh man, look at that bird poop back there. you be saying it, so why not go for that? And we was just rapping, and he was just telling me how he uses this to take care of his brothers and his sisters, and he pretty much was talking about how he was trying to get a job, and he couldn't get it. And one of the things that that stood out to me was that he's been doing it for 3 years, and this was really like his way of bringing an income. So I wanted to know, what are your thoughts of the Squeegee Boys? Because when I think of the y'all hiring experience, I think of them as well, because we see these guys are ready to work, but we're not confronting them and approaching them to give them the opportunity. So I just kind of wanted to touch base on that and see what were your thoughts and approaches on that, because it's obvious they want to work. So what can we do to make that work? And I think that a lot of people, and considering myself, including myself, you think about how you can't just approach them and be ready to pull them on, because it requires direct mentorship. Like, you really have to be there for these brothers to help them, like you say, navigate through the process of them working for an employer.
Yeah, so I I got a lot of love for the Squeegee Boys.
Yeah.
These young brothers and sisters.
And sisters, yes. I be seeing the sisters do it too.
Exactly. Like, they really want to generate income for themselves, for their family. Some of it might not be like even paying bills and stuff. Some of it might just be like, I'm trying to make a couple extra dollars.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my pocket. And so I got a lot of love for that entrepreneurial spirit. And I think the narrative around the Squeegee Boys is very, very one-sided. From a lot of people that I know. I've made posts on social media about the Squeegee Boys, and I've just gotten like a lot of shade from people that I know and people that I love, because they see the Squeegee Boys like a pest to the community. They see them as like this scorn of the earth that needs to not exist. And I see the Squeegee Boys a result of a much larger problem. Like, it's like having a cold, right? Your nose might be running, you might be coughing, you might have a sore throat or a headache. Like, all of them are symptoms of having a cold. And so what a lot of us do, right? Like, we got to keep moving. We got jobs, we got children, we might have to go to school, we got other things going on. We just like, I'm gonna take some cold medication and get over this cold, because I gotta keep going. And so I think for us, like, we have to look at like what are the deeper causes of what's causing a cold. The cold might be coming from, you might not be getting enough rest, you might not be eating right, you might not be exercising, like all of these different factors.
Right.
You're just focusing on the symptoms, which are all of the things that causing you pain or discomfort. And so when I think about the Squeegee Boys, they are the symptoms of disinvestment. Like, our city has not poured enough into our young people. Our communities are devastated. There's high poverty. The school systems are struggling. Like, all of these different things going on in our society. Right. And so all of that creates a Squeegee Boy who has like a kind heart and wants to be successful. But again, like, they don't have all of the tools necessary to help them navigate that entrepreneurship. And so what I would suggest, and I know the city has taken some small approaches and initiatives to directly connect with the Squeegee Boys. I've heard a few success stories about that, but I think we need to deeply invest in our young people in a variety of ways. I think it's more like employment opportunities. I know we have like youth works in the city, but there are so many young people who apply to do youth works who can't even get through the process. There are not enough jobs available to do that. So we need to provide more employment opportunities. We need to have more, helping people access basic needs like food, clothes, shelter, all of those basic needs, mental health. Like, it has to be a holistic approach to us supporting our squeegee boys, because just even if you do have a job available, right?
Mm.
You go to the corner, you say, "Yo, squeegee boy, I got this job. You start tomorrow. Be there at 9 a.m." They may not show up.
Yeah.
And so in your mind, you like, "Yo, I gave them the job. Why they ain't come?" Because you're missing all the other stuff.
Right.
Right. One, people know you, so it's like, why should I even trust you
Right.
like that?
Right.
Like how do I know that you are authentic, that you really care about me? And I may not have ever had any job training. So you might tell me come at 9, I might come there at 12. And I don't even want to hear nothing about you saying that I'm late.
Right.
Because I don't understand like the concept of being on time. So it takes more than just a flyer. It takes more than just a conversation, like you said earlier. It takes that real mentoring and that wrap around. And it takes really us just being a real community that we say we are.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta really show all the way up and really be authentic in our connection with our people, and then we'll help to change some of this stuff.
Absolutely, man. Definitely. And it's the thing that I really do like about your book, you know, because that's so important. Like, you really do need that guidance on how to be responsible when you're working, right? So you really do need people to work with you and take you on and help you how to, you know, like, navigate through the employment process and just continuously working for an employer. Because if you think about all the jobs that you had and how each job you learned something new and you evolved and you became a better, you know, employee or even employee to entrepreneur, you know, you'll see how you needed that in order for you to evolve. And you just, it's not going to just happen overnight. It has to be a building process for your mindset to adapt to that type of way of life. So, you know, if you are going to pursue doing that, you know, with the Squeegee Boys, which I think we should all do it so that it's a community effort and not just one person, because that's why a lot of people just kind of fall back, because it falls on, you know, one particular organization. But when you have things like that, it requires all of us to come full-fledged, you know, and you don't have to make it a thing where it's something that you do to kind of get people initiated, but just start the process and just doing it behind the scenes and letting you be the first person to bring people on. So for me, you know, I get some of the Squeegee kids to clean the car. You know, I'll hire them to wash the car, you know, instead of going to a car detailing place, because in my mind, a car detailing place is more established already. So Squeegee kids, you know, this is an opportunity for you to learn, to see if this is something you want to do. And they'll be straight up like, nah, this ain't it. But then you'll have a couple where it's like, you know, this is something I actually want to do. So you got to realize you won't be able to help everybody, but if you help some, you know, you're still doing something. So, you know, that's definitely one of the things I wanted to talk about, because I try, every time somebody talks about employment, I always try to bring up, you know, the Squeegee kids, because it like you said, it's like you bring it up, everybody just like, and it's like, you know, with the Squeegee kids, I get that you have a lot of negative incidents, but when you think about the majority of people who are doing it, you know, it's more good for them that comes out of it than those negative incidents that you hear about, you know.
And you don't hear enough about those negative incidents when it's drivers.
Yes. Yes.
Drivers like almost run over Squeegee boys.
Yeah.
Cut out, like all types of stuff.
Yeah. And they be cool. Like I just, you know, nah, man, I'm good. I you know, I'm okay. Like, be respectable about it. And they be like, all right, okay, no problem, thank you. You know, they keep it moving. Like, I've never had a bad experience, because I move in respect with them.
Yeah. So I mean, I've seen a lot of drivers just like do crazy stuff that don't make the news, that don't make social media,
Yeah.
you know, and kind of brush it under the rug. because it's easier. It's easier to just say, yo, this is Squeegee Boys. Like, they terrible, they horrible.
Yeah.
Instead of, acknowledging one with some motorists are doing, and then secondly, trying to actively support.
Absolutely. And touching base on just the hiring process and the Squeegee kids, going further with it, how would you, or how can we improve the relationships between the community and small businesses? Because what I'm learning is that when you build that relationship with the community, you will begin to passionately and authentically incorporate those experiences into your business, meaning that you would provide solutions within the business to make sure that you are doing the community efforts to help your community. So prime example, with the transportation company, for me, I offer transportation. Well, as of now, no, I'm not because of COVID, but I offer transportation rides to state prisons. Because for me, it was important that we keep families connected, because when I was working volunteering for the prison system, one of the things that I realized was that people were not willing to make positive mindset changes because they didn't have support from family. And we got to realize that a lot of people who get arrested for recreational amounts of marijuana. You get people who are falsely accused. You have so many different situations, and it's not just people who are committing heinous crimes that go to prison. And you have a lot of these kids, when they go in, they come out harder than what they went in. And a lot of them, you'll see that they just did not have that support system. And when you don't have that support system, it was a switch. So for me, I understood it as it was my duty as a transportation provider to make sure that I looked out in that aspect, right? So how can we improve these relationships with the community and small businesses so that if people can see that, if in supporting small businesses, you're ultimately supporting your community just based off of how they're supporting the community. So it's like you're recycling the economy within your community.
Yeah, so I think a couple things. I think one, that example that you gave was wonderful, because it's difficult for a lot of families, like especially inner city families, to get all the way to Jessup and to places that are, where the prisons are typically situated outside of the city, especially if they don't have a car, right?
Right.
If you take transportation to get to Jessup, that's like 3-4 hours, and you may have to walk a long walk or something like that. So I applaud you for that service that you provide. But I think that, small businesses are pillars in a community, especially in Baltimore. Like, it's small businesses that really make up, a lot of like the heart and the soul of the community. And so I think from a customer standpoint, we have to really believe that our small businesses are significant and intentionally support them because of the work that they do. So, for example, I always tell people about Terra Cafe. One of my favorites is over in Charles Village. Shout out to Terrence in Terra Cafe. But every time I go there, I'm greeted warmly. The customer service is good. The food is good. But beyond those different things, Terrence has done many initiatives, the owner, to like give back to those who are less fortunate. To be able to support the community, done free food giveaways, all these different types of things that I applaud.
Yeah.
And just him being a wholesome individual in a business being like high quality, I'm always going to support them. From my barbershop, Conscious is Barbershop. I ain't been able to go there in a while.
Yeah, look, right.
But like, yo,
look, hey, a fitted saws off.
Listen, like, I love my barbershop, not even just because of the haircut, but because the person who owns it, Jabari, like he's a community activist. You know what I'm saying? He's somebody who's been around for a long time. He has helped train other barbers, right?
Yeah.
He's trying to continue that pipeline of barbership, right? And so organizations and businesses that have that type of mindset, like we have to support them because they're so important to our communities. And they're struggling right now. Like many of them, I've heard many stories about different Black and quote unquote, I hate the term minority, but different Black and I'm gonna say minority for the sake of this conversation, businesses who are struggling to navigate even the loans that are available. Like to get that type of support has been difficult for a lot of businesses. So we got to continue to pour out and support them. You know, whether during this time it could be, you know, stopping by to visit to pick up some food. Like we got to think about it like this. If we don't support our small businesses now, when all of this is over, they might not exist no more.
Exactly.
Like they might be. And so whatever your favorite place is that you like to get stuff from, if you're not still supporting them, they might not be there in another 2 or 3 months from now, right? And so you just got to continue to be intentional, be safe. You know, that's it's a difficult line, a difficult thing to balance of like that safety and trying to stay home, and then also trying to support these businesses who are so vital to our communities. And I'm not going to act like I got all the solutions for that, but I do know that we just got to continue to find different and new ways to support
creative ways. You know, it's the time to be creative, and I see a lot of entrepreneurs are definitely doing that, and especially Terrence at Terra Cafe. You know, him and the Funnel King guy, like they working together. Yeah, you know, and just, you know, partnering and making, you got to be creative. You know, you got to be creative and make stuff happen. You know, and that's why it's so important to consistently support, because like you said, it is by being a pillar of supporting the community, they're ultimately helping you. So these are the moments where, you know, you look out and you support them back. So
and a lot of these places are places that will hire your squeegee boys.
Yes,
or
exactly.
Have a whole lot of skills. And may
exactly.
I've had
and understand your backgrounds, understand where you coming from.
Exactly. Where like that other, you know, some of those bigger employers, you're like, nah.
Right.
They're not willing to take that time to work with you. They don't have that time.
Exactly. Yep. So definitely, man. So I definitely look forward to the book, you know, coming out. I can't wait to get it in the mail. But for right now, what should people do if they want to start the process to get your book? Y'all hiring, and how can they go about getting or ordering the book, or putting their order in, or their pledge in to purchase the book?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, I'm doing a Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign to help fund the creation of the book. And so, you know, my goal of 2020, well, one of them was to get this book out regardless.
Right.
And I'm so blessed and so fortunate that so many other people, hundreds of other people, feel the need for this book to be created and to be distributed widely. So if you right now are interested in getting a book, you can go to y'allhiring.com and they'll link you right to the Kickstarter page. And when you're on that page, you can, you know, figure out whatever pledge amount you want to contribute. And depending on your pledge amount, it will determine what rewards you get. So one of the rewards is the book. You have rewards such as you know, a bookmark, an ebook. I got posters on there, different things. And there's different levels. Like you might be like, look, I just want to contribute to your effort and what you're doing, right? And you may not select a reward. You may, you know, give a little. You might be somebody like, hey, my organization has this big budget, and you know, we want to give more. So you might pick one of the other pledges a little bit higher. So wherever you are, I appreciate you. But definitely going to y'allhiring.com is where you can grab the book right now.
All right, and now definitely make sure that the information is up and the link will be available so you can easily access it. You know, so like I said, Dr. Albert Phillips, coming soon. You know, but I definitely appreciate you coming on, man, and I appreciate you touching base and just helping us to understand how we can navigate, as black youth, or help our black youth navigate through the hiring system and just through the employment system. So, I look forward to the book. I want to say congratulations on everything that you are doing and everything that you've done so far and on all your endeavors. So, we will touch base for sure. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in. Y'all make sure y'all go follow Albert Phillips. And what's your follow again on Instagram?
Yeah, so on Instagram, you can follow me at The Ambitious Black Guy.
At The Ambitious Black Guy. And definitely just stay tuned. You want to stay in touch with what's going on, with the people who are a pillar in the black community and who are doing the work and trying to put forth the effort and creativity to help us evolve as a people. So I thank y'all once again for tuning in. See y'all next time. Evolution and healing is the inevitable. We got to make it happen because that's the only way that you can go from this level to the next level, 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 to the next level.
You changed, I never got it. The problem is they never grew. I think it's obvious. I need the elevation. You don't got the answer, Sway. I did the education, solving all equations. You ain't been doing the education.